Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle, and this is the latest episode of New Music Friday. It is December 10th, 2021, and this is the show where I give you the latest prog headlines, usually the top 5 big prog news that I came across for the week and that I'd like to share with you guys. So let's get into the news today. So first, this is going to be, I believe, the last proper show of the year for New Music Friday. Just wanted to let you guys know that. I believe I'm going to do a show next week that's kind of a news roundup for the year, kind of doing the top 5 headlines of the whole year of 2021, just to kind of give the year a sense of closure and get us ready for 2022. And then there's going to be a couple breaks for the weekends of Christmas and New Year's, and then after that is my wife's birthday weekend. And so it'll probably be several weekends before I kick back up into 2022 for New Music Friday. So that's the plan right now, but I thought I'd do a quick final one for the year right now, a final proper episode, and then, like I said, next week will be more of a all-encompassing kind of year-end version of New Music Friday. So this should be a quick one. I only have a few quick items, but I wanted to come on and talk about them real quickly. So first, we've got more news from Big Train. They released a video for Proper Jack Froster, an animated video that is beautifully done by Swedish animator Love Andreas Gesson Fagerstelt. So it's a really touching, beautiful song with a lot of nostalgia and beauty to it. It sounds like classic Big Train. Really a great one. I've talked about the single before. The single's been out for a little while, but this is kind of a new video. But along with this news, kind of expected but unfortunate news, is that they're announcing their tour for March 2022 in the UK is canceled, which is understandable, of course, with the passing of David Lungden. So it's too bad, of course, considering the situation, but it's totally understandable that the band would do this and take some time to grieve and to process this grave news. We'll see what happens in the future. They're not saying anything at this moment. It's too soon to really determine what course the band will take, but they know for sure they're going to take some time, which is totally valid and totally what they should be doing. So, but of course, their new album, Welcome to the Planet, will be coming out still in January next year, so that's still on track. And they were going to announce a North American tour right before David's passing. They were going to do over 20 shows in May and June of 2022, but unfortunately that won't be taking place now because of these events. And so there's some shows, I believe, in September 2022 that are scheduled to take place in the UK. These so far are not canceled, but there's still ongoing discussions, I'm sure, about the band, and I'm sure there'll be more of an announcement further next year, sometime later in the year, I would imagine. So just wanted to give that quick update about Big Train and kind of the things that are happening in the Big Train camp following the passing of David Lungden, which was really a sad event that I've talked about several times, and I recommend you guys check out any of the tributes that have come out from various sites. The band themselves released a short video tribute that was really touching, and I, of course, did a little tribute with my wife a couple weeks ago. So please check those out, and I still wish the best, condolences to the family and to his close friends and the bandmates. Still such a shocking event, even this many weeks later from it happening. So that's what's coming up in the world of Big Train. So we'll see how things continue from there. The second headline I wanted to talk about is Jethro Tull announcing a second track from their upcoming album, The Zealot Gene. This track is called Sad City Sisters. Of course, Jethro Tull are luminaries of the British progressive rock scene from way back when, from the late 60s, 70s era up till now. Kind of a folky style prog that they kind of brought forth and were almost originators of at that time. Of course, one of the founding groups that kind of molded what progressive rock is. But this is kind of a nice little folky type track, Sad City Sisters. There's an accompanying video that I'll definitely be putting in the description. And it's kind of a fun little kind of folky song with some, flute and acoustic guitar, of course, a little bit of like an accordion sound in there. And it's just kind of fun and upbeat and kind of a cool nostalgia-laden track. Ian Anderson comments on the track, Sad City Sisters throws up memories of a Saturday night in Cardiff, Wales, when I was on my way home from our concert in St. David's Hall some years ago. It could equally well have been any town in the UK, I suppose, or even most cities of the Western world. What possesses hellbent and vulnerable young people to slip so easily into that tragic loss of dignity and end up sprawling drunk in a wet and windy street at midnight? So that's kind of the basis of the song, kind of a interesting subject matter about I guess drunk and vulnerable young people in that type of area in the UK. So definitely interesting song, definitely worth checking out. Things are looking up for this album. The songs have been really good. The album comes out January 28th next year. It's, of course, offered in a variety of different formats, from CD to LP to Blu-ray, and all of these different configurations, so you can definitely go check those out. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So it sounds like it's going to be a fun album, and I think it's going to be a really strong one for the band. Really cool that there's a lot of these kind of late career albums coming out from these really stalwart bands of the progressive scene. Of course, Yes came out with The Quest this year, and Styx came out with Crash of the Crown, which was an excellent album. So this is really cool that these older established bands are doing this. So it should be really cool. Next, I want to talk about Riverside, announcing their 2022 North American tour. Riverside are, of course, a modern progressive metal style band that has had a storied 20-year career at this point. I believe they just released a 20th anniversary big compilation set with a bunch of different of their kind of classic songs. There's an album that's their shorter songs, an album that's their longer songs. And so it kind of provides a cool yin and yang to their style of their kind of more long, extended progressive pieces, and their more shorter, more, pop centered, kind of shorter atmospheric tracks, I would say. And they released a new single, Story of My Dream, but now they're announcing a North American tour for 2022, which is really fun for me to look at. In April next year is the main dates, going across all over the U.S., from Atlanta, Georgia to Nashville, Dallas, Texas, up through to Portland, Seattle, Salt Lake City, Detroit, Toronto, and Montreal, Quebec, in Canada, date in New York and Philadelphia. And so there's a lot of cool things to look forward to here. They're an excellent live band. I've seen them live before. It's been several years, but they were excellent, and I think they're really a great act. And so we'll see what develops in terms of new music with them. If they come out with a new album coming up, I would think that they're kind of working towards that next year. But I don't think there's any concrete details, except that they're kind of working on something. So we'll see how that goes. It's cool to see Riverside kind of getting into the groove of things and getting kind of excited and doing more live shows and music. So definitely always good news to see tours and see live shows coming up. Hopefully these all are able to work out and aren't stopped by the pandemic or other issues. But really fun. I'm going to talk a lot about it, kind of a recap in my New Music Friday year-end edition next week. But really cool to see these bands going out there. And I just hope 2022 is just a big year of great concerts. It seems like it could be that way as long as things go well. So that's really promising. Item number 4. This is kind of a different one that I wanted to tackle briefly here, but I saw the Fire Note is an online publication here. They do a lot of prog reviews and stuff. Very supportive of me and the channel, so I wanted to mention the big prog end of the year review from the Fire Note, and I'll link to it in the description to go check out, listing the top 25 albums, prog albums of the year according to them. Definitely a great list that's really closely in line with my tastes. so I felt like it was worth mentioning. Some of them I mentioned in my big New Music Shuffle show where I reviewed like 31 albums in the span of 40 minutes. So some of those are included on this list. Some of the ones I'm going to be talking about upcoming in future shows are on this list. So I just thought I'd mention it to peruse the list, and it's really a fascinating one. I won't spoil the picks, but they're great ones. So I just want to point people's attention towards it if you haven't read through the list. There's some honorable mentions here: live album of the year, song of the year, reissue of the year, epic of the year, most valuable progger. Just thought this was a cool list that really spoke to me about what was great about prog this year. And I'm still planning a lot of good year-end stuff. I feel like the big New Music Shuffle, if you haven't checked it out, that came out this week, is kind of the start of my year-end stuff that I'm doing throughout the course of this month. I know it's a little early. I like to kind of usually wait because who knows what kind of last-minute albums will come out this month, and I don't want to miss anything. But I feel like there's so much I want to talk about that I have to kind of start getting into it now, and then we'll see where it goes. So, but there's a lot of other stuff. I feel like that was kind of the first of 3 shows that are going to be focused on albums of the year sort of stuff. So the next one will be coming out next week, and then one closer to the end of the year of my top tier favorites. So something to expect and get excited about, I hope. And finally, I saw this kind of passing by as I was scrolling through Twitter and Facebook and such, this kind of idea that King Crimson put out there that they may be done with the band. I'm not sure. There was kind of a post from Robert Fripp on the Facebook page for King Crimson. They were kind of posting about their final date on this latest tour, their last date in Japan. And it seems like, based on the wording of the post, that this may mark at least the end of this lineup of King Crimson. And maybe King Crimson, totally, who knows? Or maybe they'll spark another lineup in the future time period. I don't know. But I just thought it was notable as I was looking through. And I know King Crimson is a huge band, so I thought, I should mention this and see if this is something worth talking about and discussing, and see if you guys have any insights. The full post that is being referred to here says that King Crimson at the Shibuya Bunkamori Orchard Hall, Tokyo, Wednesday, 8th December 2021, on stage at 1840. Doors held for 10 minutes to allow the audience to enter, a full house. The first set, 1 hour and 3 minutes. Overall length, 2 hours and 24 minutes. King Crimson's final note of Starless, the last note of this completion tour in Japan, moved from sound to silence at 21:04. So a lot of people are interpreting that kind of moving towards silence as kind of a statement about this maybe kind of the end for the band. But we'll see, I thought I'd mention it because I like King Crimson. I've had an interesting history with them where some of their releases I like more than others perhaps, but one I definitely always keep an eye out for. So just I wanted to see maybe you guys have some thoughts about this, because it seems like this is a pretty well-established, loved lineup of the group that has been touring and doing a lot of things together. So but a lot of the members kind of have other things going on in the near future, at least. Gavin Harrison is filling up his calendar with Porcupine Tree tour dates. Tony Levin and Pat Masalato are touring together in Stickman Trio next year. Mel Collins and Jeremy Stacy remain in-demand first call players who will probably be demanded for various projects coming forward. And Jaco Jastik, already working on a new solo album, and Fripp himself has indicated he's going to be performing a series of soundscape concerts in the U.S. in 2022, also with a Q&A session. So there definitely activity going on there, but whether it's as a unit of King Crimson, that may not be so much. But we'll see. It's interesting as these bands kind of get older and kind of are nearing maybe towards the end or towards retirement, and kind of seeing these final years and what they're going to do with those years. And so just thought I'd mention that as kind of the final piece of news today. So that is my New Music Friday today. Like I said, this is the last proper episode of the year of New Music Friday. Next week will be kind of a retrospective New Music Friday, talking about the biggest headlines of the whole year and what I thought was the most interesting stuff that I discussed throughout this series. And then a few weeks break till we get into 2022. There's some great videos this week to check out. Like I mentioned, that year-end New Music Shuffle where I talked about 31 different albums in 40 minutes. It was a lot of fun to do. A lot of people are really enjoying that one and finding a lot of recommendations and music to listen to, and that's really the purpose of my channel. So I'm really always happy when people take my recommendations and discover new music and tell me that, oh, I love this new album that you recommended, thank you for recommending it. So that always warms my heart and makes me happy that I'm doing some good and sharing some music with you guys. So hopefully you'll find something in that mixture. And then I did a Classic Albums 101 with Jana. We talked about David Bowie and Ziggy Stardust, which was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun filming that and editing it together. And, you know, those shows are just fun discussions about classic albums. And I always enjoy doing them. So we're planning to do more of those as well. But kind of similar to what I'm saying about New Music Friday, it'll probably take a little bit of a hiatus for the next several weeks and come back mid to late January. And we'll be doing another one at that time. So should be a fun series to continue to follow through 2022. So this next week I have my next year-end show that I'm doing, kind of an honorable mentions sort of show. Not my top tier favorite albums, but the ones that I really liked. Many that I've talked about throughout the year on the channel. So I thought that'd be cool. I'll probably talk about some EPs that came out that don't quite qualify for my album of the year list, but are great listens, and maybe some more pop-centric albums that really captivated me, even if they're not really in the prog world, but I thought I'd mention them briefly. So that's kind of next week's show. It might be a little bit of a grab bag of just all the different music I wanted to talk about that isn't quite in my top level of favorite albums, which I'll be doing more towards the end of the year. So that's kind of what you can expect to be coming, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the shows and the content. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found something interesting in the news today. Please let me know in the comments if you heard about anything else that I may have missed. But with that, just keep enjoying the music out there, and thank you guys as always for your support, for subscribing, for liking. All of that stuff means a lot to me, and I'm really grateful for you guys. That's what's really important to me as I'm reaching the end of the year and reflecting on the channel so far. And I'm just really grateful for you guys and for your support and the way you've built up my channel and helped me with that throughout this year. And I just hope to continue on next year and do the same thing. Hopefully you guys are enjoying that and are finding new music and enjoying it. And so it should be a good year. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye.